so that we can post it later and so that people who couldn't join today can see it. I'm going to start and give you a couple of numbers before we talk about the retail to go order. These are, the idea behind this is to make sure that you know that you guys are not alone. So this is from a national webinar that we attended recently. Feels like it was recently, it could have been months ago, but it was just maybe a week ago. And some of the numbers that I thought were really impactful that I wanted to share with you is that 93% of small businesses are impacted by COVID-19. So if your business is impacted and you're feeling like you did something wrong or you weren't ready, that's not the case. Everyone is in this together. Of the people that they, in the SNAP poll that we're discussing right now, 71% lost 50% or more of their revenue and 24% lost all of their revenue. So again, this is not to tell you that the situation is bleak. It's just to let you know that if these things are happening to you in your business, you're not alone. It's happening across the country. See if I can move this forward. This was very heartening to me, the bottom part of this slide here, in an ABC News poll that 90% of Americans are supportive of giving billions of dollars to small business in America. So the citizens of the country are behind us and are looking to support us and want us to come back as strong as we can. I'm happy to share these numbers with everyone if you want to know more about that, or if you want to see that slide deck, happy to do that at the end. So let's go ahead and jump in and talk about the retail to go order. So last Friday, Governor Abbott's retail to go order came out saying that some businesses can open. Oops, I'm going to share my screen again. Sorry, guys. Thank you for sticking with me on this. Okay, so the retail to go order came out on the it's going to go into effect on the 24th. And this is what it says. A huge thank you to Rebecca for taking the order and translating it into plain English. This is also posted on our website as a blog, so you can find it there. So these are the policies that are around the retail to go order. It's a choice that a business can make, so they don't have to open. They just don't have to stay closed anymore either. These are the guidelines that the Texas Health and Human Services issued guidelines. We have a link to that printable document there. What retail to go basically says is that customers can purchase items from a retail location for pickup or have them delivered by mail or delivered to their doorstep, but it still means that you can't have people come into your premises. So inside your business, here are the things that are included in the order that matter. All of your employees need to be trained on environmental cleaning and disinfection, hand hygiene, and respiratory etiquette. All employees must be screened before coming into the business for new or worsening cough, shortness of breath, sore throat, loss of taste or smell, feeling feverish, fever of over 100, or being asked if they have been in close contact with a person who has a lab confirmed case of COVID-19. So any employee who's meeting any of those criteria should be sent home. We can talk in a little bit about how to make those things happen. Upon entering the business, employees must wash or sanitize their hands. All employees must wear face coverings. We also want to talk about the availability of face coverings and maybe some ways to get those in a minute. And employees must maintain at least 6 feet of separation from one another. In some businesses, that's going to be easier than in others. We're interested in hearing from you guys how that's going to work and what your ideas are for making that happen. Going forward, retail to go, in terms of retail to go, the payments. So all payments should be done over the phone or over the internet if possible, or contact should be minimized if remote payment is not available. So it sounds like you are still able to, for example, take cash or take a credit card from someone and run it and return it to them. Purchased items should be delivered to the employee in the backseat of the trunk of the customer's vehicle whenever possible to minimize physical contact. So again, this is saying whenever possible. So if it's not possible and you have to hand it to someone, you're delivering to someone who's coming on a bicycle or something like that, that is included in the order. Employees must wash or sanitize their hands after each interaction with a customer, and whenever possible, must disinfect any item that came into contact with the customer. So each transaction, each pickup, you're doing these things after each one. Retail delivery to a customer's doorstep. Again, all payments must be done over the phone or internet if possible, and contact should be minimized. Purchased items should be delivered by an employee or a third-party carrier. There are lots of those in Austin, and delivered to the customer's doorstep. The employee or third-party carrier can still not enter the place of business or the customer's home. Retail delivery by mail. All payments must be done over the phone or by internet. Purchased items should be delivered by mail without any customer contact. This is something that it would happen anyway. And the last note here is that the choice is yours to open or not open. So these policies that we've listed here, staying 6 feet away from someone else, taking payment over the phone, don't work for all non-essential businesses when they're doing business. The idea is to keep everyone as safe as possible. So in order to do that, we urge you to follow these guidelines that are listed here. And what we'd like to do in the rest of the time that we have together is talk about how that can be done. Do you have any questions about how to do it? And also, if you are a business that's been doing this already, if you were listed as essential or for some other reason you have already been doing curbside pickup, and you pivoted your business at the beginning of the coronavirus crisis to do that, we would love to hear about your experience with customers. Are people banging on the door trying to get in when they shouldn't? Is there signage that you feel like worked particularly effectively to get them to stop doing that? Anything that's like that. So I mentioned at the beginning of this is our first community conversation that we have. So we are used to building community by all getting in a room together and you know, being able to hug each other and say hi to each other and all of that. So this is a new world that we're living in. I encourage you to pretend at least that we're all in the room together and that we can talk. That was a big, long monologue from me. So I want to first, before we open it up all the way to questions, I want to ask Rebecca Melanson is here with us. Rebecca, is there anything that you would add to that? And I've got you unmuted.
Oh, we need to both stop controlling. Just that, you know, we're talking to a lot of members these days just to say, how are you doing? Did you apply for one of the loans? Is there anything we can do to help you? And in the meantime, I've had conversations with some businesses who have been open in the way that we're talking about because they're essential businesses, and listening to some of their experiences. And one of the things I heard this morning was that working to help employees who maybe not be ready to come back, who are concerned, and looking for ways to help those employees feel comfortable. So sharing these rules with them and saying, we're all following all these rules and no customers are going to come in the door and you'll be safe, is a really good thing to do, and recognize that some of your employees may be perfectly comfortable and ready and anxious to come back to work, and some may not be. So, you know, just give them a little hand holding and a little TLC. One person said they had employees who asked about where their hazard pay was, and they laughed and said, you know, excuse me, we don't have hazard pay. We don't have that kind of money. But just trying to manage employees and, oh, I'm sorry. Ella wants to get in on the conversation.
That's right. We knew it was going to happen at some point.
Manage employees and customers' expectations. You know, we like to think that everybody's aware and everybody knows everything, but sometimes they don't. So make sure there's good signage on your door and things like that.
Right. Thank you. Speaking of communication, I noticed Scott hopped on the call. Hi, Scott. It's good to see you again. We did a strategy session at the very beginning of this crisis, and we're planning another one. I'm sorry, I don't have the date for you just yet, but we're planning another one now that we know a little bit more about what the world looks like and it's going to change. And one thing that Scott shared with us at that session was how important communication was. And Scott, I'm going to unmute you if you just want to, I think I am anyway. There you go. Say hi real quick. There you go. Yeah, I can hear you. We talked a little bit about how important it is to communicate with your customers. So as a retail business, if you're deciding that you're going to go with retail to go, telling people that you're going to do it is going to be huge, because everyone right now is assuming that you're closed until you tell them otherwise.
Absolutely. Communication is, and everything we've talked about as we've done different workshops, communication is always step one in everything we do. And Rebecca hit the nail on the head. You're communicating with your team members that it's safe, we're protecting you, but we also need to communicate that with our customers, because just like our employees also could be our customers, or they're customers for other retail. So how are you letting people know when you are available, open for business, that you're doing everything? One, as a community, I want to know you're taking care of your employees and keeping them safe, and obviously taking care of my family and I if I come in. So just be clear and concise. What's great is the world, the CDC, the governments are telling us what to do, and it's just letting them know we're following what, whether it's the state of Texas, the CDC is saying, here's what we've done to implement that and keep you safe.
Well, thank you, Scott.
No, you're welcome.
So I wonder, is there anybody who has already been doing curbside pickup, who's already been doing delivery, who's already been functioning within this retail to go model, that has anything they could share with the group about this is what worked for us, or this is what didn't work, or we decided not to do it for the following reasons. Either, you know, we didn't have the delivery service contract set up. I'll open the floor. You can raise your hand, or you can just wave at me if I can see you on video. And this would go for, you know, business to consumer businesses, and also if you're selling to other businesses, like if you're selling something and you need a business consumer to come pick it up, or you need to have it delivered to a business. Give you all a second to think. It can be intimidating to ask questions like this. I don't see anything yet in the chat. I want to reiterate that if you would like to chat with, if you'd like to ask a question in chat and not have to ask it out loud, you're welcome to do that. I will be able to pull it up and see that. You can also contact me on my phone. Let me get back to that, and I'll flash my phone number just one more time. So if you want to send me a text message, there's the phone number right there that you could do that with. It's an Alabama area code, but I promise it's real. It's me.
Hey, Dixie, let me, if I can add something in there.
Sure.
Again, it still falls into communication, but make sure whatever you're doing, there's a lot of ways to do the curbside. Just make sure you're training your employees, your team members, actually I like that word better, how to do it. Because some feedback I've gotten just from friends and family, and even myself, when I went earlier to the drive-thru at McDonald's because I just needed a Diet Coke and I didn't want to put my mask on and get out of the car, is, are they doing everything that actually makes sense? And sometimes you see they seem to hand you stuff in a box, but then they take their hand and they're rubbing it on their face, they're touching money, and then they're putting it on your box. So just make sure whatever your procedure is, it makes sense, and that every little bit, right? And I see some head nods, you know, because we take it for granted because we're not used to this. So just slow down and write your procedure out, whatever you're going to do, and then say it out loud, as I like to say, and does it make sense?
Yeah, good point. Good point. I have also heard, and this was for pickup, right? Like as a consumer, you're going to pick something up. When you get there, the business owner's not the business owner themselves, but the employees just kind of all over the place and walking up to you, you know, and now we're like, whoa, don't, like, you're way too close to me. Like, how do you get back? Seeing some of that. So yeah, how important it is to train the people who are going to be, if you as the business owner are not the one that's going to be talking to and in front of the customers when they come, making sure that every single team member understands how important this is to have your customers, each individual customer, know that you're taking it seriously and you're doing what needs to be done. So yeah, that external communication is really important, and that internal communication is where it starts, though, to get everybody on the same page initially. I know we had talked to, like Rebecca said, we were talking to a lot of businesses, and we've heard some stories, some that are working out really well. I talked to one particular member who was having a pretty easy time switching over. She has a bunch of work that had already been done that she wasn't able to get to people. And so, you know, she's wrapping things in paper and putting names on them and is ready to kind of set things out and have people come up one at a time. She's making appointments for people. So if I'm going to go pick up, my appointment pickup time is at 1 o'clock. So my thing is going to be outside at 1 o'clock. That's the thing I go pick up. And she's mitigating me having to come up and be standing on, her porch with someone else also standing there, or sitting in our cars, not knowing who's going to go first. I see a chat over here from Mike about having t-shirts delivered, and so going to pick them up and bring them to a customer. Yeah, that's that business to business that we're talking about, and that you're going to wear a mask. We talked a little bit about masks earlier. We did get a question from someone about, as you look at reopening, you saw in the regulations that everyone needs to wear a mask. So all of your employees need to wear a mask. If I had 15 employees, I don't have 15 masks to give. So we're working on a source for that, so that we can connect you with someone who can get you the masks. If you can't just buy them, maybe you're going to buy disposable ones, working on that, or maybe you're going to buy reusable. Oh, look at that. There's a source right there. That's what it's all about. So Mike sells masks. So we'll share that. That's great, Mike. I'll get a link from you that I'll share with everybody when this is over. That's wonderful. Ask and you shall receive, right? So, and gloves and sanitizer, that was my next question. You're a mind reader. We didn't plan this, I promise. I didn't know that he was going to say this. So the thing that I was going to mention next is, if you read through those regulations, what other supplies do you need? What other supplies do you need to gather so that your employees can follow the regulations as they exist? Gloves and hand sanitizer are two of those things. So Mike's going to give us a link to his business and the ability to be able to get on there. That's fantastic, Mike. Oh, I lost my train of thought. I'm so excited to know that you have that to offer to people. As you think about opening your business, when, again, if you're oh, thank you. It's classicfp.com. That's Classic Forms and Products. And I'm calling you Mike. I'm used to calling you Michael. That's what's sounding a little strange to me. Your formal name, you know how it is. So as you think about a customer coming up to your business, if you're not usually set up for curbside pickup, or usually set up for having people approach you in this way, and you don't want them to come on, you don't want them to come walk right up to the door, you need to tell them outside of your business what it is that you want them to do. So if I am not wanting you to come knock on the door when you get there, if I want you to call and tell me that you're there, or if I want you to send me a text message or send me an email, or if we have an appointment time, whatever it is that you're wanting people to do, make it really clear to them when they get there to your place, so there isn't something that they don't know what to do. It looks like we have a couple of options for face masks, some that are reusable, so that's great. So we'll put all those together. I'll put these links together and send them out at the end of the meeting, along with some of those numbers that we showed earlier. I'll take a second, take a breath here, and see if, in all that we're talking about, does anybody have any questions, or is there anybody who has been doing this this curbside pickup, or anything that they're willing to share what's working for them, or even if it's something that you're not quite sure how you're going to do.
I just have one thing I'd like to add to
Yeah.
what you're saying. And it's that, we can all step forward and be the examples of how to do this right. You have the rules. They're actually pretty simple. We can follow them. But the key, outside of communication, which is so true, one of the keys, though, is that, you're making people feel safe and making them feel comfortable, and doing it within the guidelines. And I think if we all do that and are able to accomplish that, then local business wins. It's just a wonderful thing to be able to do. And again, not every business, like you pointed out, Dixie, is able to do curbside. Some of us are services that you can't walk out to a car and put in the back seat. But as much as possible, it's a small step to trying to reopen in a safe and comfortable way. So, yeah,
thank you. Yeah, how our customers feel about how well we're taking care of them, and how they feel about how well we're taking care of our employees is really important. One thing that I said earlier to a media, member of the media about local business owners is in talking to the people that we've been talking to. One thing that everybody says, and that, Rebecca, I know you'll echo this, is how local businesses are so worried about their employees, and that their first thought is, how am I going to take care of my employees, both financially, how am I going to keep them on board, and also how am I going to keep them safe? What can I do to help them? And it's just, you know that, I know that intrinsically from working with business owners for the past 4 years with AIBA, but to hear it in a crisis, that your first thought is, how am I going to take care of my people, is incredible, and really speaks to what the community, the local business community in Austin, is all about. So yeah, it's very fun. Seed, I see you have your hand up. Let me unmute you. Hi.
I'm going to say that I notice when I'm out getting necessary supplies, there's definitely this palpable sense of anxiety, and everyone's like, oh my God, stay away from me. So I wanted to just remind folks to, when you can, add a little levity to the situation, make a joke or smile or something, because there is some humor in this. It's a dark humor, but you know, we have an opportunity to kind of introduce some levity and just to help people feel a little less anxious, because it's a very grating feeling to know that like you're out there exposed, and you know, just a little friendly something can go a long way. So, you know, remind your employees that even if they're kind of nervous or they're kind of anxious, to try to take that extra step toward connecting with the employees. I mean, with the customers.
Yeah, good point. Good point. And that about the follow on to that is, like, one thing that local business does is creates community amongst this kind of larger city. And doing that, like with the people that you interact with, you're a huge part of the community. The local businesses that are here are what make Austin what Austin is. And the better we can do with that, the better the whole community is. I see a message on here about a concern that when we do go to being fully open, so, you know, in theory, this is the first step to fully opening the economy, at least in Texas, and that it will go forward from there. Of course, we'll see what happens. So we have another resource that I'll share, and Larry, if you want to talk a little bit about that. So Larry's mentioning, Larry Bard is with EnviroMaster Services. Let me get you, there you go. And he mentions that sanitizing, keeping retail spaces clean and safe for everyone is, I'm gonna quote you, this is what we do. So that is what they do.
Yeah, I'll take a moment of everybody's time. My company is called EnviroMaster Services, and we provide a service we call the virus vaporizer. It's an electrostatic sprayer that puts a positive charge on a hospital-grade disinfectant, which is EPA registered to kill all viruses, including COVID-19. And it's human safe and food safe. So we come into businesses and completely disinfect the business. The epicenter is the bathroom, because that is where the concentration of germs will always be. And we provide certification as a third party, so people can post that on their entrance to their business, that they have disinfected their entire business. It is a safe environment, please come in. And that brings a whole different level of comfort when you can certify that you're doing that for your customers and your employees. And I'll keep it moving.
That's fantastic. Thank you for sharing that. So I will make sure that in the other resources that I'm sharing, when we all get offline, emailing them out, I'll make sure that we include that so that people know how to get in touch with you and get, you know, on your calendar, understand what your services are all about. Thank you for sharing that, Larry. I see a few new people joined, and I'll go ahead and ask this question again. The question that we're asking right now, and really we're open to any comment if you want. The question we're asking right now is, if you have been doing curbside pickup or retail to go in whatever model it is, what experience did you have? Do you have any words of wisdom or words of advice for people who are just starting to pivot to it? Is there something that's working for you or not working for you? Or if you're a business owner that didn't have retail to go before and you've kind of pivoted to do that right now, is there anything that you don't know how to do, that you're not sure about? Should I put a sign up? How many employees should I have? How are we going to do this 6 feet apart situation? Any of that. This is open forum to ask those questions. You can ask them out loud, or you can chat like we've been doing, or if you want to text me on that phone number, you're welcome to do that. While you guys think of questions, I noticed that we do have a couple of service industries on here, and I appreciate you joining. I wonder if that you have anything to add. So the retail to go probably doesn't affect you in the same way. So like in the work that I'm doing right now, a lot of the work is happening here that I don't need to go out, and I'm able to do a lot of what I'm doing using, I mean, I'm probably Zoom's biggest cheerleader or whatever. I've got everyone I've ever talked to using Zoom. There are lots of other platforms that work just amazingly well. There's Google has a platform, Microsoft Teams, if that's your thing, has a platform. So I'm able to do a lot of this here. I wonder if you're a service industry, have you been able to use online meetings? Are you able to still service your clients? How is that working for you? If anybody wants to share that situation, I'm not sure what all industries we have represented on the call, but I'm interested in that. I did think the other day, and I haven't asked any of our members specifically, but I did think about real estate and how, like, are you still showing properties? And how do you do that? And does the retail to go mean that you can do that now as well? So it looks like Rebecca added, we had a member with washable handmade masks that included a logo with a contact there. Michael, you had a question, do haircut places open on Friday? That's a great question. I think the answer is no, but I will make sure on that. So don't quote me on that being no right away. I'll make sure about it. I want to go read about it, find it in writing. I will include that in what I send out when I send out the resources. And haircut, are you saying that because that's why you're wearing a hat? No, I'm just kidding. The haircutting places, when they do open, it's a whole bunch of service places. It's the massage parlors and the tattoo parlors and everyone who's doing that one-to-one, really close human interaction service. If anybody on here go ahead, Rebecca.
The answer is no, because you cannot have customers come in your door.
There you go. Simple.
Simple no.
Yep. And that's not something that I've seen done over a web meeting. I do know that there are bang trim tutorials, Michael. If you'd like to just trim your bangs, you can get online and they'll walk you through how to do that. Everybody says never cut your bangs, but you know, these are strange times. We do strange things. I see a few other people are joined, and we're asking, do you have any concerns? Is there anything that you have a question about that you don't know how to do in the retail to go, or an experience that you want to share about how it's working or not working? While you think about that question as a group, I'm going to give you a couple of updates about some things that AIBA is doing and things that you can take part in. So we, and a notice. So one thing that I do want to mention is there were two big federal loan programs, the PPP fund and the EIDL loan. Most people are very familiar with both of those. Both of the funding for that, at least that first initial round, has been used already. So the EIDL loan program is no longer taking applications, and the PPP money, at least that first round, has been used up. So lots of people had applied for either the PPP and have not heard yet, or applied for an EIDL loan and haven't heard yet. The city of Austin has been working on a bridge loan to help businesses in between the application for an EIDL loan and when those loans are funded. That program is live as of today, so that's available on the city website. All the details of it are there. Does require an application for an EIDL loan, and those are not being taken anymore. So if you have an existing application for an EIDL loan, there's some information on the city's website about that. Again, that's intended to be a bridge loan between one and the other. The details of the repayment of it and everything are available online. We are happy to answer questions about it if anybody has those, either now or you're welcome to reach out to us after this. So we're doing another fun thing that I want to mention. It's love letters to local business. So one thing that I have said more times than I can count is that what local business needs right now is two things. We need generous and forgiving financial support from our city, state, national, local government. And we need consumers to buy local just in every way possible. You buy everything local. So the businesses that we spend our money with right now, both our funding money from the government and my money from my pocketbook to you, the people who get this money right now are the people who are going to be around when this terrible, terrible storm passes us and everything returns to whatever normal looks like. So we're doing everything we can to kind of beat that drum, beating it on the advocacy side, asking for funding, asking for grants, asking for everything that we can do to shake the proverbial money tree and get some of that money into the bank accounts of local businesses, and to make sure that the message about shopping locally still stays strong and stays at the forefront of people's minds, and that they know that they can shop locally for anything. So the challenge that I said earlier is anything that you want to do in Austin, you can buy it locally. Anything you want, you can get it locally. And it's a challenge is if you think that there's something that you need that I can't find for you from a local supplier, I'm up to the challenge. So if you think you can't do it, contact me. I'm going to find it for you locally. If not, I'll eat crow, I guess. But there really is, it's so much that you can do by shopping locally. And now is the time to do those things. So I see I have some questions here on the right. I'll come back to this love letters from local in just a second before we end. So here's a question about, are you allowed to keep your door locked while we're open to discourage people who won't read signs or who jiggle the door just to see? Fantastic question. Are you allowed to keep your door locked? And that would be talking about fire code, right? So if you have people inside your building, what am I supposed to do? That's a fantastic question. So I don't have a quick answer. Rebecca, I see you're unmuted if you want to hop in here. We did hear from another member, and I know I'll let you tell that story.
You can lock your door. And the fire code is about people in the building, as long as there's a back door or an exit. You know, it's about people getting out, not people getting in. So you can lock your front door. I would encourage you to do so, because I've heard stories about big signs out front announcing that, you know, we'll bring your order out to your car. Do not come in the business. And people come up and bang on the door, you know, right in front of, trying to look around the big sign that says, we'll come out and serve you. So yes, they cannot come in your business, so lock your door.
Okay, good info. Yeah, and that's not the only, we've heard that story a couple of times that people don't read signs. I'm guilty, like I have pushed on the pull door more times than I want to count. So we're just not used to it. So that's great. So as long as there's an exit and you're still meeting fire code, absolutely, you don't have to keep your front door open. I love the idea of people who jiggle it just to see. Those are the same people who push the elevator button over and over and over and over and over again. So we have a couple of comments about the loan, a question about if you can get a loan at a bank for the same interest rate, why do the city loan? That's a great question. Each business situation is going to be a little different. If you have a fantastic relationship with a bank that is willing to work with you and has more maybe favorable terms than can be offered somewhere else, you should absolutely do the loan that makes the most sense for you financially. For some businesses, that's going to be a loan through a bank. For some businesses, it may be alternative funding, like something through the SBA or something else. A message from on here that the city bridge loans expected to assist about 170 businesses. So just urging you to apply if that's something that you're thinking about. I don't know, I have not walked through the application process for that. Again, it just came live today, so I'm not sure what the application process looks like to really speak to it, but it is live and out there for anyone to look at. So another question here, if you have already applied for an EIDL loan, which is, so right. The city bridge loan requires an application for an EIDL loan, EIDL loan. when they're no longer accepting those, and they're no longer accepting those right now. So yes, that is correct. It does require that application.
I'd like to add something
Yeah,
about
sure.
the other ones. And it's that, yes, do what works best for your business and what serves your purposes, but do know that the city bridge loan has to be paid back in 12 months. And the plan is that you have to apply for the EIDL loan first. So when you get your EIDL funds, you're supposed to pay the city loan back from your EIDL funds. But if you apply for an EIDL loan and then apply for the city bridge loan and your EIDL loan is denied for whatever reason, you still have to pay back the city bridge loan in 12 months. So read the fine print.
Yes, read the fine print. And that is, there was, I don't know if people have looked for that before. Yes, absolutely. It's an application to get an application. It is an application to get an application. Yes. So if people had looked at that website before, we're looking for more information. That city site has been updated, and there's a lot more information. Just like Rebecca said, all of the details about it are out there and need to be looked at very carefully. It is a loan, so it is a taking on debt, just like all of these. All of these loans are taking a decision to take on debt for your business that should be looked at carefully. I think we got all those questions on the right. So let me go forward and tell you about this love letters to local business. Like many of our ideas, this was the brainchild of Rebecca, who's here online. And we were looking for a way to bring a little levity, to bring some feel good, to further the reach of marketing and name recognition, and spread a little love to the local businesses who are out there. So at the time, some local businesses were deemed non-essential and were completely closed, and others were, operating on a skeleton staff and doing some other things. And so the idea behind this is we want the local businesses to know that we are here for them and we're supporting them in any way that we can. And sometimes that means I can call and I can buy a gift card, which is a fantastic way to support a local business. Everyone, when we hang up this call, should call their favorite local business and buy a gift card, or get online and buy a gift card that you can use later. So it's a win-win situation. But how else can we spread that love around? And what we came up with is this, and it's an opportunity for you to go on social media and talk to your favorite local business, the one that you care about. I'll give you an example from me, the little restaurant in our neighborhood that we always go to. We've done all kinds of things there. Like we've had many celebrations there, we've done whatever. And I was able to order margaritas from them the other weekend. And so they delivered my favorite margarita to my house with chips and queso. And it was just like we were there, except that we were in our living room. So it's an opportunity for me to say, hey, this restaurant is doing this, and I can't wait to go back and do my regular Friday night margaritas there. But until then, they're delivering it here. It's still delicious. It's amazing. And I can tag them. And what it does is it lets people who in my network and in the AIBA network know that this business exists and that they're delivering. And it lets the business owner know that I'm waiting for them. Like, I'm here as soon as they open. I will be there jiggling the door to make sure that it's open so I can get in to do that. So I would encourage you to all go out there and do that. It's a Facebook group is the easiest way that we could gather the information and then turn around and share it with the rest of our social media networks. It's easy, it's fun, makes people feel good, and it helps our local businesses get some exposure that they wouldn't get otherwise for free when they don't have huge marketing budgets.
It's also, can I add something?
Yes, absolutely.
There was an article in our newsletter on the 15th about ask your customers to go and brag about you on it too, because what great outreach. If I'm looking at that and I see these places that, oh my gosh, all these other people love this place enough to send it love letters, I need to go there. I need to look at what they have. So it's free, it's great marketing, and it's more than a giant community hug, but it's a giant community hug with great marketing attached.
Right. Yeah. And it's a great way to extend that social media reach, like we're talking about, getting outside of your echo chamber, the people that already know and love you, to get to other people talking about you that maybe didn't, they don't know that they love you yet. That's what it is. They will find out soon enough. So I want to open the floor just one more time before we close down. If anybody has any last minute questions, you can ask them. You can ask them in chat. You can raise your hand. You can just unmute yourself and start talking. That's totally fine too. I mentioned at the beginning, Scott and I are working on another strategy session. We're looking at that next week, at the latter part of next week. We did the first one. If anyone wants to go watch that, it's available on our YouTube channel, which is linked through our website. Get some ideas for what to do. And then now that we're a couple of weeks in, we have a better idea of what it's going to look like. Maybe you could do some little different planning and talk about some of this retail to go stuff, how you can pivot there. And so we're looking at that. And then we have another webinar in the works that's going to be focused on the business owner themselves. So another thing that happened is a bunch of changes in how you can do your personal finances. So how much you can take out of your IRA and what that looks like and how it maybe relates to your business, and working with someone who's going to come and talk to us about that side of things. So about you as the business owner and how you're managing your personal finances, and be able to ask some questions there, maybe without having to do a full-on information session with a financial planner. So I don't have a date for that one yet, but it's out there. I'll also say, if there is something that is happening in the world, something that's lacking in your life as a business owner, if there's a topic that we are not hitting on, that you're just sitting there waiting, like, when are they ever going to offer to tell me this thing? Now's the time for you to tell us what it is that you need. We're ready. We're here. We're ready to provide you with absolutely anything that you need. If we don't know the answer to a question that you have, we will find it for you. And if we can't find it, we will stay with you until we find the person who knows the answer. So we're in it with local business throughout this whole thing. I think, unless either Rebecca or Steve, you guys have anything else to add, we'll go ahead and close today. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. I think we'll do maybe another community conversation like this. I'm not sure what the next topic will be. Maybe we'll unmute everybody from the beginning and have more talking that way. I just want to say, I appreciate you all coming on and doing this. This is a little strange that this is how we're doing group meetings now, but this is how we're doing group meetings now for the next little while. So thank you for rolling with it. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for being the amazing local businesses you are. You have our contact information. We're all available through the website or over the phone or chat, or however you want to get in touch with us. We're here for you. So I'll stay on for a few more minutes. Thank you so much for joining, everyone. I look forward to seeing you all at the next one sometime soon. And thank you, Rebecca. Thank you, Seed.
Yes, thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah, thanks, Brock. It's good to see you. Hey, Shelly, I'm still on here with you. Your message just came through. Sorry about that. Who feels that they will do curbside on Friday, and how will it work for them? That's a great question. Unfortunately, people are off there. I will tell you that we spent quite a bit of time contacting people this week about who was going to hop on curbside and try to do the retail to go stuff. And one thing that I heard more of than I was expecting to is how many people were already operating in that model. For the list of what is an essential business is much broader. So you guys were too, is much broader than everyone thought it was going to be, which is great. Like, and different people are fitting into these kind of small categories that you didn't think, like educational. I know music is educational, so music can still be essential or whatever. So one thing that's happening is for retail to go, if you already either have a pretty robust e-commerce site, or you're used to selling stuff online and shipping it, or you're even used to doing delivery, to pivot and kind of tweak your system to switch from delivery to do curbside pickup, that's just not going to require as much of people. I was hoping to get some people here with us today that would that had never done it, that maybe would have some questions. So it's possible that they're not joining us today because they're thinking, oh my God, I have to do curbside delivery in 2 days and I don't know how to do it. Looks like we have an answer from Michelle. Michelle, thanks for chiming in. Start on Monday at Slow North and call when they arrive. Yeah, bring the items out. And you already did have that online shop that you're talking about. So yeah, it's not a huge pivot. So that makes sense. It sounds like you have a really good plan too. It's really nice to know that you can, again, with the fire code, making sure that you're still meeting fire code, that you can lock your door. We did hear from more than one place that people were still trying to come in, which is always interesting. But yeah, Michelle, it sounds like you have a good situation there. And then you also mentioned up here earlier in a private chat to me that you do have masks. So I would love to, I'll include you on that, and you sent me a link. So I'll include that link when I send the resources out to everyone else. That'll be great. Let's see. So Shelly had to do a big website reboot. Wow, 12 hours a day. And you have a lot of product. I mean, more than the average business. So a lot of Zoom selling, that's interesting. What a neat idea. So yeah, four different stores. Yeah, and I love your stores. I've been in them. It is a lot. You have so much stuff. It's all amazing, but I can only imagine what that's like. Zoom selling is interesting. That's not something I had heard. I'll put that in the hopper and mention to other people. That's interesting. Like you could do a tour of the store, you know, for people, for your customers who are looking to buy something. That's neat. Yeah. Yeah. Seed is asking you, is that how Zoom selling is working? I would, yeah. Concierge shopping. That's neat. That's neat. How very cool. A virtual visit to a toy store for a kid. That's really neat, Shelly. Thank you for sharing that. So I think I'm going to, that is a really neat idea. I wish that my kid was old enough to take advantage of that. He's not. But yeah, I bet kids who are a little older would absolutely love that. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you, Shelly, for joining, and thank you for those ideas, putting those on there. I hope that your questions about the loan, oh yeah, 10% volume, yeah. Yeah, until retail is all the way opened up, I think that is the way it's going to be. That's the way it's going to be. And it's a really creative idea, but you're right, it doesn't make up for foot traffic all day in the store, right? Yeah, that's very true. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off. And Shelly, if I know that we were emailing one another, if you do want to continue the conversation, I'm always available via email. I also shared my phone number at the beginning of this. I'll put it back up real quick. Just so you have it, if you want to reach out to me that way. My phone number is it's an Alabama area code because I'm from there, even though I've been here for like 20 years. If you want to reach out to me that way, if you have any other questions, or we did record this and I'm going to post it on our YouTube channel so you can watch the beginning of it, just to see anything that you missed there. Otherwise, I appreciate you coming, and thank you for all of your feedback. Blair, I see you're still on here. Thank you also for coming. And Seed, I appreciate you too. We'll talk to everyone later. Thank you guys so much.